Hey everybody, this is Rosh, and you are watching Helix Basics. This is a YouTube tutorial series I'm putting together to help new and experienced users program their Line 6 Helix. So a little about myself. Once again, my name is Rosh, and I build and program a lot of guitar rigs using a lot of different gear. Some of my clients include Steve Vai, Leppard, Melissa Etheridge, A Perfect Circle, Bush, Maroon 5, Kylie Minogue, and more. So if you've been watching this tutorial series, you've been probably seeing a lot of fractal audio gear videos and demos and instructional content. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is that I actually program a lot of different modelers, including the Quad Cortex, the Line 6 Helix, Kempers, and all the fractal audio products. So I wanted to give back to all the community out here, as well as online, to also show some tips and tricks on how to program the Line 6 Helix. A lot of these modelers have the same type of, things that you would want to do across any unit that are just general good practices for any type of modeling unit, especially if you're running direct or if you're running kind of hybrid setups using it with tube amps or power amps and everything like that. So I wanted to start this YouTube tutorial series for the Line 6 Helix. I do program a lot of these as well. So I do get asked to do a lot of Helix rigs out here in LA. And I also do them remotely. So let's start with the basics. So now we got the Helix here. This is going to be mainly just kind of a navigation video. I want to show some of the basics on how to navigate the unit from the front panel before we actually use the editor. So these are the factory presets, and one of the things that you're going to want to do first is in the scribble strips right here, you're going to basically use this button to toggle between the two modes, okay? So right here, you're going to see stomp mode, and stomp mode is basically to turn on your different type of stomp box effects. So right here, these are the default names. So transistor tape is going to be a delay, and you can see that when we press that, it turns on right there. I'm just going to hit cancel for that. And as well as the optical tremolo, you can see that it's going to turn that on and off right here in the preset. And again, this is a factory preset, the US double normal, which is basically the Fender Twin. So, and then this button right here is going to be the red squeeze. That's a compressor that's going to be going in there. So now when you're toggling between these two modes using this foot switch right here, what's going to happen is that when you press into this, by default, you're going to have your snapshots. So toggling between this allows you to get access to your basic stomp box effects, and here it gets your snapshot effects and allows you to bank up and down through the presets. So for example, right now we are on preset 1A, and then hitting the bank up button allows you to select whatever preset you want to go to. So in this case, let's go to deluxe normal right here. So instead of the double normal, we'll go to the deluxe normal. We'll press that. And then now we are in the deluxe normal preset, and again, in preset mode. And what we can do is hit the stomp button, and now we have access to our effects here. So it's going to be really useful to understand that this switch is going to give you access to your snapshots. It's going to give you access to your effects. And there are other ways to basically have like snapshots and effects if you'd like them all in one page. But again, this is just the factory default. This is just kind of what it loads up to. And again, these are, completely interchangeable. You can do a lot of different things, but we're just going to show a unit that basically, if you just pull it out of the box, that's kind of what you get. So again, let's navigate to a different preset. We're going to hit the bank up button again, and you'll see that there are these presets, but you can keep going through different banks as you go up and down through the banks. So for example, if you watch this bottom one, we have bank 1, and then you're going to have different letters for each bank. So A, B, C, and D. And then we have bank 2 right here, A, B, C, and D. And then as we keep hitting bank up, we have bank number 3, A, B, C, and D. And, bank number 4, A, B, C, and D. And what we can do is we can select any of these presets by going there. So let's go to a different preset. Let's try the Brit 2204. This is kind of a JCM 800 type of preset. And again, you can see in the LED screen right up there, we are now in the Brit 2204 preset. Again, our different snapshots, and then we can go to hit the stomp mode, and now you have access to the different stomp boxes that are, again, in this factory preset. You can, of course, put more stomp boxes if you'd like, But each factory preset right now is showing up with basically 4 different type of stomp box effects. So we have an overdrive right here, turn that on or off. We have the gray flanger, we can turn that on or off. Simple delay, and we can turn that on or off. And then we have the room reverb that is on by default. Now, let's explain snapshots really quick. So snapshots are basically, if you're familiar with some of the other products out there from different modelers, snapshots can be analogous to scenes on the Fractal products. Snapshots allow you to turn on and off multiple effects at a certain, without having to press multiple buttons. So for example, in snapshot 1, let's say hypothetically we want none of the effects on, but in snapshot 2, we want to turn all of the effects on. So what you can do, of course, is go into stomp mode, pick a snapshot. So let's say this is our dry snapshot right here. What we can do is go into snapshot number 2. We can go into stomp mode, turn all these on, and then you can see here that all our effects are on. And again, if the difference between turning effects on or off in the LCD screen is that you can see that they're kind of grayed out. They're kind of, in the background, that kind of color, but you can see that if we turn all these on, and again, we're in snapshot 2. If I go to snapshot 1, all the effects turn off. If I go to snapshot 2, all the effects turn on. So this can be a really great way to basically turn on multiple effects without having to do the old tap dance, pressing down with 2 feet or doing anything like that, or trying to get your foot to press down 3 switches at the same time. So again, if we have snapshot 1, none of the effects are on. And you can see that none of the effects are on except the reverb, the stupor OD, the gray flanger, and the simple delay are off. But in snapshot number 2, you can see that the stupor OD, gray flanger, and simple delay are both on. And again, if we're watching this LCD screen right here, snapshot 1 has them off, snapshot 2 has them on. So this is a really great way to utilize different button presses to turn on multiple effects on or off. So you could, for example, have a dry sound, maybe something with some effects on it, maybe a lead sound in the 3rd snapshot. Those kinds of things are really useful. And again, further down in the tutorial series, you can see that snapshots can also be used to adjust different parameters within an effect, including the amp block, all that kind of stuff. But for the sake of this tutorial, we are going to just put that off to the side. So let's bank back down and let's go back to the first factory preset. So we're starting with the double normal right here. Let's talk about just the navigation of everything else now that we've kind of done a quick overview of all the switches. So your main way to navigate the LCD screen is definitely going to be coming from this knob right here. So this little joystick right here allows you to navigate your presets grid, and you can see that this cursor is moving left to right, up or down. And this allows you to select different effects and you can make all the adjustments there. So for example, if you want to adjust, let's say something in the amp block, I'm going to use the joystick and I'm going to toggle until I pick that icon right there, and that is the amp block. And then now these knobs are going to adjust the different parameters of the amp. So for example, we can turn this knob up or down to turn up the drive, bass, middle, treble, presence, and then the channel volume. And this allows you, again, to make any adjustments on any of the effects parameters at will. You can, of course, for example, let's say we want to adjust the optical trem. We can use these knobs to adjust the spread, the level, the intensity, or the speed. And in this case, if you're looking at the speed, these are the subdivisions that we're using based on where the tap tempo is. We'll cover that a little bit in the future. But again, this is just a simple way to pick an effect using the joystick, using these knobs to adjust the effect. So for example, if we go into a different bank, let's pick the Essex AC30. This is kind of an AC30 style preset. Again, we can go into any of the effects. So for example, the distortion, we can adjust the drive, the bass, the mid, the treble, everything like that. Now, again, if you're tweaking your tones on the fly, you want to make sure that the effect is actually engaged. So you can, of course, press this button and you can pick different ones, all that kind of thing. We're going to just ignore that for the time being. But if you want to adjust and hear the adjustments as you play, you make sure that the effect is on. I'm just going to hit cancel right there. Just make sure the effect is on so you can actually hear the adjustments that you're making. And of course, you can tweak whatever the knobs you have, and then of course bypass it if you don't want it engaged. So again, if we go to the amp block, we see the AC30 or A30, Essex A30. We can adjust the drive, the bass. In this case, it has a cut knob, which is kind of, for these style amps, it's like a reverse presence knob. We have a treble, and we have the presence, and of course the channel volume. So really quick ways to adjust things on the fly. Every time you move the joystick, these knobs will start, showing the parameters that you can adjust depending on whatever the effect type is. So in this case, we got a reverb right there. We can adjust the mix, the level, high cut, low cut, pre-delay, decay, all that kind of stuff. And again, in the future, we will definitely cover and go more in depth on any of those blocks. So for the time being, that's a really simple way to start navigating around on your Helix. We're going to wrap this video right here. If you guys need any one-on-one help, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. You can contact me directly. And in that case, I'll see you next time. Thanks.